This is getting gooder. Thanks for joining us. We jokingly call ourselves the Cult of Happiness, and we're glad you're here. We're about to listen to a recording from one of our weekly meetings, and if you're in the Salt Lake City area, feel free to join us sometime so you can experience the full event. Or you can watch live on YouTube. We meet every Sundays and Thursdays at 7 p.m. Mountain Time. If you like what you hear and think other people could benefit from this, we'd really appreciate it if you could take a few seconds to like, follow, subscribe, rate, and or share the show. Literally any of those things really does help us reach more people, and I'd love to see this thing have a bigger impact than just our small little community here in Salt Lake. I put a lot of energy into creating these events and formulating these episodes, so I'm just asking for help and hoping you could do me the kindness of helping us grow with just a few of these small actions. It truly does help, and I'd be so grateful for your efforts. Thanks. Now, let's get to the show. So when I was about 6 years old, I took this trip to Sedona, Arizona. I'm from Wisconsin, and we came all the way out to see my grandparents in Arizona. We made our way up to Sedona and went to this place called the Slide Rock State Park, which is kind of like a natural water slide. So it's like just this really slick rock, and it's got this nice stream of water, like river flowing, and you can water slide down it essentially. Incredible natural wonder. It's awesome. And even though it was Arizona, the water was insanely cold, like the coldest water I've ever been in for this 6-year-old body. And the only good thing about it, the only reason why I went in at all and did this water slide was probably because it was wicked hot outside and the water was only like up to my thighs, essentially. It was like a real water slide. And so I tried it out. I probably wouldn't have done it otherwise, and it wasn't too bad because, I was just a kid and it was fun. So I went in on this water slide, and I'm going down from the top, really having a good time. It's just like staying at that hip height, basically. I slide down. I keep going further than most of the kids were going down the hill because I was having so much fun, and I ended up like dropping off this cliff into this big pool of water, and the water was still rushing. And so I go underwater, and I'm probably underwater for maybe 10 seconds or something. And so my mom's naturally freaking out. She's like, what? Like, oh my gosh, my son is underwater in this rushing river. She's freaking out. But I pop my head up, like down the ways a little while, and I have the biggest smile on my face that she's ever seen. And to this day, I'm convinced that it wasn't a smile because like it was a thrill or anything like that. It wasn't like the thrill of that. I think it was honestly because of the shock, the thrill, the feeling of the cold water, like diving underneath and like, and then coming back out of it. Like, honestly, I think that was my first experience with like this thrill of cold plunging, more or less. And so to this day, ever since that moment, I've like totally confirmation biased myself into believing that jumping in cold water is like one of the top 5 best feelings that I've ever had in my life, or even in the world. Like, honestly, I think it's incredible. And so not only do I want to brainwash or like invest in getting you guys to like experience this cold water thing, like at the very least, I would like you to experience cold showers. But that's the bare minimum. Like, I would love for everybody to also just like come join me in my cold plunges every month for the entire winter. Like, I have a thing that I do where I want to jump into cold body water every month of the year, basically, just as some sort of reset. Also, just because it feels good and I love the vibe of it. But also, it's just awesome for its own sake. And not only that, it's incredible from a health perspective. There's a lot of research behind why jumping in cold water or just like having cold water immersion is really good for you. You've probably heard of some of these, but we're gonna kind of go in depth into it. Like, there's some legit reasons why cold is beneficial, and maybe I'll convince you to kind of join me in one of these excursions one of these days. Some of the people in this group have done cold plunges as like a weekly thing, more or less, where I had a friend who would host like these meditation breathing sessions, and then we go jump in cold water, and then we'd have this like prompt of something to think about, grow with, whatever. She's since moved to New Zealand a couple weeks ago, but I think we're going to keep it going through this group or just through through friends going to do something crazy fun together. So last week we talked about embracing discomfort, voluntary discomfort, or whatever it was 2 weeks ago. And even though I said that cold water is probably one of the top 5 sensations, that's not delusional. I'm not saying like it's amazing all around. It's definitely uncomfortable. It's definitely not a fantastic experience when you jump in, but it's only uncomfortable at first. It's only like that first like 10, 20 seconds, I would say. And if you can embrace that discomfort long enough, the benefits to be gained are like astronomical. And in general, that's kind of true of most things that are discomforting or uncomfortable. When you self-impose a stressor on yourself, and if it's done in a controlled way, in an incremental way, like small doses of a stressor, you can make nearly every single system in your body work better, more efficiently, and just feel more vibrant in general. So whether it's like getting a tan outside or lifting weights and working out or learning a new skill, embracing discomfort will be the way to improve those things, to like go outside for a little bit longer each time to tan your skin a little more, or to work out a little bit better every time in order to gain strength and stamina or whatever you're trying to do. So like we talked about last week, that some of you have heard, the embracing discomfort thing is really about finding that sweet spot of too much and too little, too much too soon, not enough, whatever. All those variations of like the Goldilocks principle of finding discomfort. And if you don't do enough, you're not going to get the benefits. And if you do much too soon, too much too soon, you might get injured or have damage or something like that. So there really is a sweet spot. There's like this perfect level of what's right for you specifically. And so most of the results that you get from discomfort, from imposing stressors like jumping in cold water and things like that, come from this incremental progression. Just a little bit of comfort, a little bit of imposing of a stressor on yourself, and then you recover. You give it that little bit of dose, and then you have to like let it sink in, let your body do the job of integrating that stressor, healing from the stressor, whatever. So above all else, what happens when you embrace discomfort, when you embrace voluntary discomfort, is that it builds your stress resilience, your physical and emotional resilience. So when you're more resilient to stress, it kind of goes without saying that things don't phase you as much. You're chill, you're even keel, you're calm, you're cool, you're collected in the face of any stressor, no matter what it is, physical, mental, emotional. And this kind of comes from a lot of things. It can be confidence, it can be knowledge, it can be experience, etc. So instead of like training in one specific area and gaining confidence by mastering one specific thing, though, you can just like generally gain confidence for any type of stressor, gain knowledge, gain whatever experience. It doesn't have to be so focused on one thing in order to gain that. You can gain that elevation of stress resilience by generally having the attitude of embracing discomfort throughout most of your life, right? So by voluntarily leaning into the challenges and the difficulties and the stressors that you get better at handling stress when you don't choose to impose it on yourself. So by having that voluntary choice of choosing to lean in, choosing to face things as a challenge rather than being a victim of it, you can elevate your ability to handle things when you're not choosing it, when they're happening to you. So even though you could be a victim, would have the opportunity to be a victim of stress, you don't. You're the master of it. You're bigger than your stressors. No matter what stressor is imposed on you, you're cooler than the issue, which is why I say like voluntary discomfort makes you cool. Like you're just like, I got this. Like I'm just like cool. I'm even keel. I'm calm. I have control over it. So in general, embrace discomfort. This was like the main topic that we talked about last time, but this is one application of that, of jumping in cold water, that has a lot of really tangible benefits beyond just the highbrow embrace discomfort attitude. Number one, the main thing, this seems like an exaggeration on the screen of you become invincible. No, but it's not an exaggeration that jumping in cold water literally makes you live longer. And not that sentence may not be proven specifically in scientific research, but like the logistics of how you get there, those are proven time and time again in science. So like number one, the thing that's the coolest system that I've ever heard of in the body is this thing called autophagy. This is a Greek word for like self-eating, which sounds like it's not a good thing. And it's one of the coolest processes in your body. It's a recycling program triggered by this stressor, such as jumping in cold water. So your body starts to get rid of the dying, worn out cells that are nearing the end of their life, and they replace it with this new, young, healthy, lively cell that's stronger and more resilient. It's adaptable to stressors in a lot of ways. So, like I said, your body is essentially building up its defenses to prepare for this long winter, and it's putting the stronger cells on the front lines in order to do that protection, in order to like make your body stronger. And in the end, like the ultimate goal in the end is that you're tricking your body to focus its energies more on building a more efficient, more resilient, more adaptable vessel. And in that way, by becoming more resilient and adaptable, you survive longer. This is just a natural process in science and ecology, the natural world, right? Like those animals that can adapt and survive in the face of stressors, environmental stressors, those are the ones that live longer. And humans are no different, right? We're animals. So whether the stressor in your life involves being chased by a lion back in our further ancient times, right? Or if it's making the rent payment, or maybe the latest virus that's spreading around the open market, if your cells are more adaptable, they're more resilient to stress, you will live longer. Just like I said, maybe that sentence isn't proven in research that cold water makes you live longer, but like all these sub-level processes are just like logistically or logically, that's what happens. You're going to live longer, because the only reason why we die is because our cells can no longer defend or adapt to stressors. Your body just wears down to a point where it can no longer combat the environmental stressors like cancer or heart disease or COVID or autoimmunity, all those things. Like they're just stressors in the end. And if your cells can't adapt to it, that's when the things start to shut down. So at some point, the stressor will win. That's what life is about. But you can help extend your resilience against those stressors by training your body's adaptability to stress. And so jumping in cold water is like one major way to do that. Now there's some fun ones too of jumping in cold water. Number one is that we talked about this last week, but also I'll be kind of brief with it, but cold water stimulates this brown fat production, which is different than white fat. Brown fat's not the kind that like gives you a beer belly or flabby arms or anything like that, because it mostly resides in adults in like our shoulders and down our spine, this brown fat. And brown fat is different because it actually helps you burn energy. So the more brown fat that you have will help you burn the white fat that's surrounding your abdomen or arms or whatever. So you pair that with the fact that cold water stimulates the fat burning hormone in your body, which is called adiponectin. And what you get essentially is abs and Michelle Obama arms. Like you're looking good. Like that's one of the biggest benefits of cold water. The other is that it benefits your skin a lot. So hot showers, they strip off the oils, the natural oils that are on your skin. And this is no bueno for your microbiome that lives on your skin, right? So not only is this bacteria good for preventing infection and just like having a protective layer on your skin, but they also make your skin look better. So like the natural oils, you want to keep those all over your skin. That's what gives you that healthy look that a lot of the beauty companies try to tell you will come from like the latest face mask or the body scrub or whatever. They don't tell you, right? They don't tell you that the best way to make your skin look better is actually one of the cheapest and easiest ways to do it, which is take cold showers. Now, cold showers, or at least like not wicked hot showers, they won't strip off those layers of your skin, and they'll allow your skin to hold more moisture and look and feel better because of that. It'll allow your skin to get that glowing vibrancy that the beauty companies talk about. Like, pretty good advertisement, right? So there's like a bunch of these like fun little side benefits that come from jumping in cold water as well. The other thing that's like a little bit of a, I don't know, just like a personal aside, I guess, is that when you do it with other people, when you jump in cold water and endure like this hardship or this discomfort with other people, it enhances social bonding. It like brings you together, it enhances your your connection with somebody else. It's similar to when military comrades like come back from deployment. They've gone through this like really intense hardship, which I'm not comparing cold water to that at all. Like that's a much different, bigger thing, but it's has a similar effect when you're just like imposing it on yourself. When you embrace discomfort with others, it just brings you closer together. It's just one of those things. You've done something hard together, and that makes it that not only stimulates productions of like oxytocin and serotonin, which is a social bonding hormone, but it is or a neurotransmitter, but it's a just a natural effect to feel closer to people that you've gone through struggles with. Now, I said at the beginning, it's probably one of my favorite feelings in the world. And I'm still in absolute amazement every time I get out of cold water. When I can feel the water literally evaporating off of my body with my own body heat. So even in like the dead of winter, I get out of the cold water and I feel like there's like this thermal barrier hovering over my skin. And that's like one of the most incredible feelings that I've ever felt. Granted, it's like I'm not about to tell you that cold water feels good to jump into. It sucks, of course. Like I said, it's uncomfortable. But that's the point. That's the point of embracing discomfort. Because if you can calm your body and your mind in the face of this stressor, you'll start to develop the same stress management powers in other areas of your life. Even if it's a psychological stressor, even if it's completely out of your control, you can use the training of calming your body, calming your mind, and carrying on to apply to other areas of your life. Now, if you're also somebody who gets cold really easily and like naturally runs cold, then jumping in cold water would actually help a lot with that thing, because it seems counterintuitive, but again, it's like training camp for your body. You'll train your body how to like thermoregulate more efficiently. You'll train your body how to heat up itself more quickly, efficiently, whatever. So essentially, you'll get better at warming yourself up so that you can handle cold better and feel more comfortable in colder weather. Now, here are some tips for jumping in cold water. If you're going to do cold shower and you're just starting out, I would recommend doing like a cold finish and a cold start. You've probably heard this technique before. It's like only 30 seconds is all it takes. And you'll be surprised how quickly you'll get used to that like initial shock of like, whoa, that's cold. Within those 30 seconds, I bet you'll be like, oh, I could probably take a full shower. Like if you start with that and take 30 seconds and like feel that shock and then kind of breathe through it, you'll probably be like, oh, I can do this. I can finish the whole shower as a cold shower. And that's cool. Now, if you're going to jump in like a lake or a river or whatever, my recommendation is to try to stay in the water as long as it takes to calm your breath and restore it to like this your normal rate. So either it's like a 30 to 60-second period. 60 seconds is a long time in the cold water, but like you'll notice that you can probably restore your breath back to just like a calm breath like we're experiencing right now in a relatively quick amount of time. Kind of like a public service announcement about that though is like if you're like me, if you're somebody who's going to go cliff jumping into the cold water, I need everybody to like test the water first, do a quick dunk in the water ahead of time. Don't just like jump off into the water if there's no easy escape, no place to stand or anything like that. And the reason I say that is because I've had friends of friends who have died by jumping into cold water without acclimating ahead of time. They had this like shock reflex, which caused a gasp, which caused them to swallow water and eventually drown, unfortunately. So please get acclimated first if you're going to like jump in. I don't know if anybody here will do that, but for my friends at home who are a little more likely to do that, I've got a couple on the line that I know would do that. Don't do that. The other thing is I would say to start in a place where you can stand. Like, so don't like jump into the water and then be treading water, because that action of treading water is it feels a lot colder. Like the movement of your hands in the water makes it feel colder, and so it's harder to calm your breath down in that case. So if you're just starting out, just like go into a place where you can stand and then just like drop your body down into the water. Now there's a few breathing techniques that you can try before and after jumping into cold water. The first is this guy named Wim Hof. He's like a very avid cold guy. He like climbs Mount Everest in no shirt and boots and a swimsuit kind of a thing. Crazy. And he does this kind of like hyperventilation technique. It's a controlled hyperventilation where he's like this, what is he, like a Swedish guy or something like that, where he goes all the way in, let it go. And then you just like do that over and over and over again. It's called Wim Hof method. There's another one called box breathing, which is used by Navy SEALs that oftentimes go into really cold water, like Arctic water. And it's a box breathing or like square breathing technique where you go in for 4 or 5 seconds, hold for 4 or 5 seconds, let it out, 4 or 5 seconds, hold again. So in, hold, out, hold, all the same amount of time. That's box breathing. You can do the same thing with like triangle breathing, where you just do in, hold, out, in, hold, out, triangle breathing. And then there's a few more. There's this 4-7-8 technique where like you can do really any sequence of seconds, but like 4 seconds in, hold for 7 seconds, out for 8 seconds. That's the 4-7-8 technique. And then there's this double inhale where you breathe all the way in, do like a little inhale at the end, double inhale, really expand your lungs as much as they can, really get that breath and let it out. In, one more, and all the way out. That one is kind of the same as nasal only breathing. Like you're not usually doing that with like that's kind of odd. So don't do it like that. That's kind of like the nasal only, where you go and just let it all out through your nose. You're only breathing through your nose the whole time. And then finally, the last one is just like a posture. So if you're in the cold water or if you're just practicing ahead of time, it's a Superman breath where you like put your hands on your waist like this, and that's just a signal for your body to breathe into. So you want to breathe outwards through the sides of your rib cage and through your diaphragm and also through your stomach. And so putting your hands here is just a cue for your body to breathe outwards through those hands instead of up through your chest, which is a dysfunctional breathing pattern. We don't actually want to be breathing up through our chest, and we're using like all these accessory muscles in our neck, which that's not their main job. Breathing should come from the diaphragm, coming straight down and pushing your belly and all the canister of your body around. So like use that Superman posture to breathe out through your sides of your hips and then out. So those are a few techniques that we're going to use. We might be able to try them right now, actually, because we're going to do like a little guided meditation. And this practice is going to be geared towards warming up your body with your mind and your breath. So like literally, I want you to be able to feel your body get warmer through this process. First, I want us to focus on our breath. This is a natural meditative thing, right? We've all probably experienced this. So I want you to inhale and feel your breath go in through your nose and down through your esophagus into your lungs. Each breath, feel that breath come in through your nose, down your esophagus, down your throat, and fill your lung space. Each breath in, feel that air filling the space in your lungs, almost like your lungs are pulling the air like a vacuum. With every inhale, the air is naturally, effortlessly falling into your lungs and expanding them, widening that space. Every inhale, feel that breath go in through your nose, just being pulled in to your lungs, filling that space. And as you feel that full breath of air with each inhale filling up your lungs, every time you feel that breath fill up your lungs, I want you to draw your attention now to your heartbeat. With every inhale, feel if you can see, sense, have some imagination of your heart beating in your chest. Even if you can't feel it, Tune into the rhythm of how you feel your heart might be pounding. Imagine each beat. With every inhale, every time your lungs fill up, just imagine that beat. Tune into the rhythm of your heartbeat. You might be able to feel it beating in your chest. If you want, you can put your hand on your chest and actually feel that heartbeat. And then with each beat, every sensation you feel of that heart beating, every imagination of your heart pounding in your chest, I want you to feel the warmth of that heart as it's beating gently. It's in this safe home inside of your rib cage. It's hugged by your lungs like a blanket. It's keeping it warm. It's keeping it safe. And I want you to imagine that warmth of the blood that's beating in your heart. Imagine that warmth growing. With each beat, feel your heart pumping that warm, safe blood through the rest of your body, through the blood vessels. Feel that blood coming from your heart and just radiating, that warmth of your heart radiating out as it travels from your chest outward to your arms, down your arms and into your hands, and into every finger. Feel that warmth just carrying over every inch of your fingertips, from your chest all the way down to your arms. Every beat, feel that warmth just pushing that warm blood everywhere in your body. Feel it come from your chest down to your legs, down to your thighs and into your calves, down into your feet and toes. And as you're feeling that, no matter where you're feeling this warmth the most, I want you to kind of like wiggle that area, wiggle your toes, wiggle your fingers, open and close your hands, and feel that warm blood pumping through your arteries. Imagine that warmth growing, getting warmer and warmer like a flame. It's getting bigger and bigger. And as it grows, it courses through your body like lava. Like imagine that this blood is replaced with lava, slowly moving to every cell, every muscle, every tendon, every bone, every joint in your body. The lava is warming you from the inside, making your body a vessel of pure warmth, just slowly just growing inside of you until you just feel this heat emanating from inside and coursing through the rest of your body. Sit with that warmth for a while, let it grow, let it recede, let it grow again. You can play that with your heartbeat. That warmth is pushing that lava, that emanating heat throughout the rest of your body. And maybe with every breath, it kind of recedes. Inhale, that warmth growing throughout your body and back. Sit with that for a while. Continue to feel that warmth growing in your body. Now we're going to imagine a bit of a different type of warmth, almost like a glowing orb. Imagine this glowing orb of warmth, and imagine it in your mind's eye or in the middle of your forehead. Imagine that pulsating glowing orb waiting to just release its energy throughout your body. It's just an ember. It's an ember glowing, pulsating with the wind. And imagine that ember in the top of your forehead, feeling it starting to grow, emanate, get bigger throughout the rest of your forehead. Imagine it growing down into your face, into your cheek muscles, into your neck, growing over the top of your head, top of your skull, down the back of your neck. That ember is just growing. Its warmth is getting bigger and bigger as it moves slowly down the back of your neck into your shoulders, down your shoulders into your arms, forearms, into your hands and fingers. That warmth is coming over the top of your hands, maybe coming down the back side of your forearms. Just the entire arm is surrounded by this ember of warmth. And as it grows back towards your chest and shoulder blades, you can just feel it growing around your entire body as it goes down your rib cage and into your abdomen, down your spine and into your glutes, down your thighs, your knees, your shins, your calves. It's growing slowly and slowly. This warmth is overcoming your entire body. It's coming down your arms and your legs and your feet. You are warmth. You are this ember that's radiating with heat. And now your whole body, you can sense it as this, you are this glowing ember. You are this warmth. You are the epitome of heat. Maybe you imagine yourself as this brilliant light. Maybe you imagine yourself as the lava that we described earlier. You're slow moving, you're sinking, you're melting, you're sliding along the ground. You're just one with your seat, with your muscles and joints and everything else. You are the heat. As you breathe, feel that heat growing inside and then detracting a little bit. For 3 or 4 more breaths, you're going to feel that heat grow, and then you're going to let go of some of it. You're going to come back to your normal state little by little. Inhale, it grows. Exhale, you let out a little bit more each time. 4 or 5 breaths, you're going to come back to opening your eyes, being present in the moment, letting go of some of that warmth, that heat that we've embraced for this last 10 minutes or so. Nice. Slowly come on back. Thanks, that was fun doing that. Hope you enjoyed that. Did you feel a little bit of that warmth growing? Did you feel those sensations? You could do like a very small version of that before a cold plunge, and it, like, you might not even really feel the discomfort, which is also an incredible thing. Very powerful. That's how that is kind of like that was just my own little meditative brainchild. I didn't get that from anywhere, but it was, yeah, wanted to try it out. I've kind of done it for myself before. I've done it in a sauna and literally almost passed out because I was too warm. I elevated my body temperature too much to like be able to handle the heat. And I've done it before, like walking out in my bare feet and no shirt in the wintertime, like trudging through the snow, and it literally did not feel a single ounce of cold. Literally that orb of warmth around my skin was a very real thing. It was crazy. And so, I don't know. It's something to try. I think it's a very unique and cool experience to feel that, the power of your mind to be able to do that.
That's a wrap. Once again, if you're willing to show some generosity and take just a second to like, subscribe, share, and or rate the show, it would go a long way. Thanks for being here, and we'll see you next time. But until then, go get gooder.